Should we start with the song? Waka Waka AA, 4 points, who gives an F? The Reds staying up. Welcome to the special edition of Grumpy Old Reds. Oh. All right, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Grumpy Old Reds. Of Forest have been hit with a 4-point penalty deduction in the Premier League that has pushed them into the relegation zone. But what does it mean? Are we happy with it? How are you guys feeling about it? Let's get into it. As always, please don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and sign Rob's goddamn petition, seeing that he's got it in his in his name there. How many you got now, Rob?
36.
36. Oh, doesn't sound like you convinced me.
4,964 signatures, and then I will personally take it to Marinakis.
They'll lock him at the gates, but he'll still try.
To see that, you know.
I would. All right, but we got more important things to talk about. So, Forest hit with 4 points, breached by 34.5 million. Hey, what's up, Matt SB? Always the fans that get punished. It's always the Forest fans, Matt. It's always the Forest fans. And well done on beating Wolves, Matt. I hope you get yourselves to the final. Beat the Manx. Beat the Manx. But yeah, we've had 34.5 million. There's some interesting things about Brennan Johnson that became clear in that 51-page essay that I tried to get through on everything. But I want to start with the general feelings. Chat, 4 points. How do you feel about it? Let's forget all the politics around it. Is 4 points good or bad in terms of what you were expecting? Kick us off, Crypto. How are you feeling about the 4 points?
Not too bad, because I think a lot of us, I won't speak for anyone else, but a lot of people thought we'd get 6 points. So to get 4 points is arguably better than what I was expecting, at least. We'll probably come on to whether we should appeal it or not. But what you've got to think is that every point is crucial, because sometimes you're going to go down on goal difference as well. So 4 points, 3 points is a massive difference. And what I don't want us to do is be sat here at the end of the season saying, we wish the club did that, we wish the club did this. But in the opposite way to that, if I was a player and if I was Nuno, I think I'd just want to get on with it. If you know now where you are, you know where you're on the table, you know what you have to do, and you've got to put that behind you and crack on. And it's almost like I'm in two minds as to, do you appeal, don't you appeal? Because appealing may help the business side of things, but will it help the guys who are on the pitch putting the football in? I'm not quite sure. But yeah, opening remarks, 4 points is better than we expected.
What are you saying, Ant?
To be honest, I feel like it's the first time we've come onto a stream like this and celebrated a Forest win for a long time.
This is the only way we'll get 4 points.
I was kind of expecting 6. So 4 is definitely a bonus. And look, at the end of the day, it's put us 1 point behind Luton, I think. Yeah. If we can't get more than 1 point better than Luton for the remaining 9 games of the season, then quite frankly, we deserve to go down. This is the thing I keep mentioning. We've all been concentrating so much on PSR. We're actually taking our eye off the ball at how crap we actually are and the position we're in. You know, even if we had the 4 points, we've got 25 points from 29 games. That's not brilliant. It certainly doesn't match the expectations at the beginning of the season. However, we are where we are, and I'm relieved that it's 4 points. I'm genuinely relieved it's 4 points.
Has Ed's frozen, or is he just really good at keeping a still face?
I'm awesome, mate. No, I was trying to type something at the same time.
He has frozen.
You're frozen.
It's quite a good look. It's like the Blue Steel look out of that film. It's pretty impressive.
Well, I've got to say in a bit, Rob, I mean, the only thing you got right was your 1-1 prediction. All your conspiracy theories about how Forest were going to have a handshake and no points because the Premier League.
I wasn't far off.
This is your fault again, mate.
No, I was expecting 3 because I was thinking they were going to do a deal about not appealing. But I think with the 4, it's borderline now. They're going to probably end up appealing it. I think the two things that determine whether you should appeal or not are can it make things worse? And we think that probably not. Yeah. And how long will it take? I think that in terms of the mental health of the supporters and also the confusion on the players, an appeal is overall not desirable. If it had been 3 points, I would strongly say now, I really hope they don't appeal. Even with 4, I kind of hope they don't appeal. But looking at the statement that they've put on the club website, it looks like they're gearing up for an appeal. The only thing is, I'd say, it's like they have to, because if we get relegated by 1 point, then whoever made the decision not to appeal is going to be crucified. So it's like they have to do it. But the trouble is, right, let's imagine that we get relegated by 1 point, and then on May the 15th, we get given the point back. So the table gets changed again. So that immediately means that Luton or Brentford or whoever then sues the Premier League, and the lawsuit goes on into next season. We spend the whole summer not knowing what division we're in.
Not our problem.
Well, is it? No, it's not our problem if we don't know what division we're in.
Theoretical as well. No, I'm
getting all freaking Brexit on us now, Rob.
No, I just wish they'd made it a bit easier and just made it 3, and then we could just move on. But I think I can understand how it started off at 6, but I understand the mitigation. We cooperated. We'd come up from the Championship. The rules are changing next season anyway. We sold Johnson, and we wouldn't have had to if we weren't trying to stay inside the rules. All of these things. So that, and Nick DeMarco has got us 2 points. So I think the very maximum that an appeal.
You're not another mitigation though. The mitigation of changing the rules next season. That's a mitigation.
The issue is that we've effectively pled guilty, right? So you don't get acquitted when you plead guilty. You plead guilty in order to reduce the punishment. And the question now is over whether the reduction of 2 off the 6 is enough. I mean, from my point of view, I'm going to make myself super unpopular now. But when I saw that we were over 34 million over the limit, all I can say is I now see why mysteriously Nicholas Randall QC stepped down as our chairman quite recently, because I thought he was here for the duration. I thought he was going to transform the governance of the club, and he's done a disappearing act so he doesn't have to face the music. And we've gone back, I'm afraid to say, to being a basket case again. And I'm not happy about that. I think that obviously the club has to put out a statement saying we're hard done by. But quite frankly, implying that we had no say in the matter, we didn't have to buy all those players for Olympiacos. And we should actually man up and take some responsibility for the situation that we're in.
Yeah, I think you've raised a good few points. Ez, just before I bring you in, can we just have a massive shout out to our boy Matt SB, who's he's so close to 60k subscribers. I mean, last time we had Matt on, it must have been about a year ago, and he was on 24, I think. So unbelievable work from Matt SB.
What he's doing, a lot of good then coming on our show, didn't it?
Yeah. You're welcome, Matt. You're welcome, Matt. So if you're not subscribed to Matt's channel, I'm just going to chuck the link in the chat and show our Coventry boy, the lovely Matt, some love, and make sure you subscribe to him. And he's always very, very nice about Forest. That's why we love him. I'm sure most of you subscribe to him anyway. So make sure you subscribe to him. There's a couple of points I want to bring up, Ez, that I want your take on. For me, what Will says here, the Premier League wanted us to have 8 points deducted, and he adds the words "tosses," rightly so. And for me, this is a bit weird, seeing that when you're not insolvency, what's the word with Portsmouth? Administration. When you go into administration, it's 9 points. Yeah. So, in what mindset are the Premier League doing this? That they think a breach of 35 million, call that big, call that small, whatever you want to say, right? But how can they think that a breach on PSR is worthy of 1 point less than administration. Surely that's stupidity from them.
It is stupidity, and there's no structure in what their arguments are, and it doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up for any of it, for us or for Everton, and it just literally feels like they're just clutching out points deductions out of thin air because they can't back it up. Like you said, if you can go out of basically go into administration and only get 9 points, how can overspend on PSR rules get you an 8-point deduction? Good job it is an independent panel that actually awards you the point and you can appeal it. But even without an independent panel, I agree with what Rob says. Once you've admitted the guilt, then you can't then appeal on grounds of the rules not being fair. You just can't. It doesn't work. It's double jeopardy. But end of the day, the rules are bent, and that's why we're trying to fix them for next season. But still, to fix them in their favour, it's not going to really benefit teams coming up again. So the Premier League have proven what they are. They're just a bunch of if I say what I want to say, good job I've already broken my fast, but it wouldn't go too well. But at the end of the day, we know they're corrupt. They're showing their corruption through what's going on here and punishing the smaller clubs, as they even called us, Dick Masters, as whatever you want to call him, he called us a small club. They wanted to punish us as much as they could. Like I say, only thing that has helped us is that it's an independent panel and it's come down. But my question to the rest of the guys was, so is it the difference between, if we'd got 3 points, I think most of us would say we're not appealing. And at 4 points, some people want to appeal. Is the difference of 1 point really that much of a difference for us to really?
I'd appeal even if it was 1 point. I would appeal.
Personally, I would.
On goal difference as well, you could go down.
Yeah, and there isn't a jeopardy. As far as I'm aware, there isn't a jeopardy rule that if your appeal doesn't go through, that you get points.
Can it go up?
Yeah, I don't think.
I read. I don't know how true it is, but
I
read that there's nothing in the rules allowing them to add extra points for an appeal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
so there's nothing in the rules.
He may as well appeal.
My understanding,
maybe they've taken that into account with giving us 4 rather than 3 because they know we're going to appeal it anyway. So they're almost expecting it to be reduced to 3 after appeal. Who can say? Maybe they've already wargamed it out that way.
So my understanding of the appeal process is there's only 2 parties that can appeal, and that's the defendant and the prosecutor, basically, which is Forest and the Premier League. So if Forest appeal is to reduce the sentence or the punishment, if a Premier League appeal is to increase the punishment because they don't feel it's fair. So going into the appeal, I don't think you can come to the position where Forest. I don't think the Premier League will appeal. They don't want this dragged out.
About that?
Yeah, why would they want it dragged out? Because if they appeal, then we have a right to a counter appeal, no doubt. After that, it was the same with Everton when Everton had their appeal down to 6. The Premier League didn't then counter appeal the appeal. I know I'm saying appeal a lot, but I think I've used it in about the right amount of time there. So I don't think of that precedent the Premier League are going to appeal this. I think we should appeal. I think we should appeal if it was 1 point. I think we should have appealed if it was just a fine. Yeah, it's a free appeal. Have a swing at it. And what you were saying, Crypto, about, well, do we then want to drag it onto the pitch? I see it differently now. Because before today, where everyone's like, I've heard from 0 points to 10 points on what Forest are going to get. Yeah. We now know that this should be the maximum that Forest are down. Anything extra is a bonus. So we're almost working and should be working in a reverse mindset here that, okay, we're on 21 points. Yeah. But if we appeal and get one back with 22, if we get half of it back, it's whatever. Yeah. You know what I mean?
As long as it's the worst we can get. I mean, the most tragic thing that could happen is we appeal and then they turn around at the end of the season and say, actually, we've been pretty lenient. Let's give you 10 points instead.
They can't do that.
Yeah,
they can't do that.
Can't happen.
It's not them that's giving the point.
You may as well appeal.
The Premier League that are giving the point.
No, I know, but they can appeal the decision by the independent panel, can't they? That's what.
If the independent
panel, more likely not to. Yeah. If there's no danger of that, then you appeal.
You may as well, because
you'd be daft not to.
Every point counts. We don't want to be sat here at the end of the season saying we've been relegated by 1 point.
I mean, let's hope it doesn't get
might anyway, because the appeal might run on after the end of the season.
Yeah,
that's true. But let's hope it doesn't get down to 1 point and goal difference for fuck's sake.
Can you imagine the uproar from other fans? I think it was Anne who said it. Can you imagine the uproar if they gave us a point back after the season had finished and somebody else got relegated? I mean, it would be.
Can I add my 2 pence on whether we should appeal or not? Honestly, I don't give a shit. If we can't get 2 more points in Luton for the rest of the season, we should fucking be chucked down the league.
Yeah,
honestly.
Exactly. I'm with you.
I'm not that fussed whether it's 3 or 4. I'm glad it's not 6. That would have worried me. 3 or 4.
Yeah.
So the difference between us having to improve over Luton by 1 rather than 2 points, really, are we that bad? If we're that bad, we may as well give up. You know, that's my feeling. So by all means, appeal if you want to, but I'm not bothered. You know what I mean? I'm happy enough with 4.
I'm going to.
Luton's future is in their hands, though. They're ahead of us. It's us who are in the relegation space.
It is. But come on, Crypto.
I know.
It's in their hands. It would be in their hands if they weren't playing Arsenal and Tottenham and Man City. It's not in their hands. It's in the hands of.
Yeah, it's not a title race scenario.
Psychologically, they will be now being hammered into them that you guys are ahead. As long as you stay ahead of Forest, you stay in the Premier League.
That may even lead to a negative mentality, though, because
why are we scared of that anyway? Yeah, we're scared of
that. We should be scared of it. I'm just saying that they in theory.
I get what you're saying, but on the other hand, it could be psychologically damaging to them because I bet you any money you like they were expecting more than 4 off us. So now it's, oh shit, we're only 1 point ahead.
Yeah, they've been crying about it, and on Twitter, they've been crying about it. So, let me just catch up with super chats quickly. Keep them coming in. We'll take a break every 10-15 minutes and catch up with them. Marky Boy Catfish himself with a £2. Wacka wacka the like button. Wacka wacka that like button. Indeed, there's 523 of you in here across all our platforms. Thank you so much for joining. Get those likes up and make sure you're subscribed. The beautiful Stuart Pearce alongside Will. Thank you for the 18 months, buddy. Good to see you. We've got Jordan with the 199. We have to keep our heads up, boys. Come on, you Reds, he says, with the 199. And the world famous Matt SB. Thank you so much for the 199. We'll do some work in the future, boys. Of course we will, Matt. And I hope you guys get up as well through the playoffs. And Nikki, fuck it, let's just start winning games with the 199. I think he agrees with you, and I think he is absolutely spot on. I just want to kick it across to the Forest statement, which I thought was extremely strong and ballsy from Forest. Robbie, I assume you've read it.
Yeah, I've got it here.
Yeah,
it's obviously a prelude to an appeal, so there's no doubt.
That's exactly what I was going to ask. Is that how you're seeing it?
Yeah, can you summarize it, Wolfie, so that people that haven't seen it know what it's about?
If you've got it open.
You want me to? Right, okay. So, notwithstanding our disappointment, thanks for agreeing on an expedited basis. You have to have the charges resolved in the same season they're issued. We're dismayed by the tone and content. It's saying that their Premier League was trying to get us 8 points, and they think that's ridiculous because it's 9 for insolvency. And they were surprised the Premier League gave no consideration to the unique circumstances of the club and its mitigation. Not sure about that one myself, but anyway.
I think that's the 2 years in the Championship, Rob.
Yeah.
It is unique.
Well, other teams had been promoted as well.
But they haven't gone over though, have they?
Exactly.
Anyway, they're talking about So they're saying even though we missed the reporting deadline, we took steps to ensure Johnson was sold before the end of the transfer window. The thing is that's a very good point that the deadline should align with the transfer window, but unfortunately they knew that in advance, and that wasn't the case. They're clearly preparing for an appeal. My response to this is I am pretty shocked to hear about this offer that we had on the 30th of June of 50 million euros from Atletico Madrid for Brennan Johnson, right? That's new information that had been kept very, very quiet.
Excuse me, we covered that in the summer, mate.
Okay, all right. Well, I'm sorry. I was before my time, but
50 million euros is
clear, right? Let me be very clear. Even if we get relegated, it's worth not selling Brennan Johnson to Brentford. Fuck them, right? If Brentford think that they can have our best player for less than he's worth by exploiting the rules against us, And I'm pleased to hear that he didn't want to go
He didn't want
either.
to go, did he?
So
Yeah.
why should we be selling a player for less than he's worth to a rival team that he doesn't want to go to comply with some arbitrary deadline? Having said that, the fact that we were in that position may have something to do with the fact that we bought, Omar Richards, Hwang, Shelby, Scarpa, and I could go on.
Josh Bowler.
Long list of names, right? Long list of names. Josh
Scarpa was
Bowler.
on a free.
But
Scarpa's name into this.
what I think so on a point of principle, I'm glad we didn't cave in to Brentford, but I can't understand why we wouldn't have just taken the money from Atletico Madrid, because that would mean that we'd have 4 points now.
Yeah, just to add a bit of context onto that. So that was on the 30th of June, right? There's no way in hell that deal gets finalized and complete there and then, even if Forest accepted it. However, Forest countered them on the same day with 65 million euros, which is about 58, 60 million quid, something like that.
Spurs, you mean? Spurs.
No, Madrid.
Let's go.
Oh, you said Forest countered them.
Yeah, but I mean, how much stronger would the mitigation have been?
Oh, you mean they said they
that
wanted
offer
6
in principle and the actual signing?
I agree with you, Rob. My point is, the point I'm making is that Forest asked for stupid money.
Yes.
The counter offer to Atletico Madrid was stupid. You're not going to get 65 million euros for Jono.
We talked ourselves into an absolutely crappy bargain
Well, how much
position.
is 50 million quid? That's not far off 65 million euros.
No, euros. They offered 50 million euros.
That's
about
about
what?
euro.
All right, let me start it again.
Don't forget, Jono strikes me as a very homely lad. He might not want to play for
Exactly
Simeone in Spain.
Exactly.
It's all right.
Come on.
Teams can accept
Atletico,
all
I'm
right,
sorry to
can't they?
say, Atletico Madrid is a step up from Forest in recent history.
No, Rob. You're not understanding what I'm saying. Culturally, Jono might not have felt comfortable. Working for a manager like Simeone, we know what kind of manager he is. Brilliant at it. And also, culturally, Madrid is not quite as upmarket and as nice as Nottingham. So you can understand why.
I thought you were being serious until that point.
I'll buy him. So thank you, Lucky. Right. So ignoring the Jono side of it, because you're right. And the other thing was Jono had changed his agent around that time. There's loads of things going on. But basically,
that's a very good point. I'm going to butt in now. That's a very good
Go
point. Why were they so locked onto this Spurs deal? Which agent got rich out of that one? Right? Because I'm suspicious about that.
Well, Jono's dad got a new scarf out of it. I know that.
I mean, seriously, there's other things at play here. We could have taken that money and we would not have breached, right? But instead, they've held out for another 2 months to get a bit more money out of Tottenham. But the question is, which agent got rich out of that one? So, we're talking about corruption. I think we still don't know the full picture there.
We know you love Jono, but don't you think it's time for us to move on now and conconcentrate on what's
going on?
but we're talking about the circumstances. We're talking about the circumstances.
I know, but am I right or not when I read that the commission ignored the Johnson thing anyway?
Because the reason
because it was out of time, yeah.
So but Rob's point is valid.
That's that.
No, but Rob's point is valid, Dan, because what you're saying, Rob, is if they had an agreement in principle on the 30th of June, then that would have been a stronger case to say, look, we were rushing to get him over the line. Exactly. But we had an agreement, and they do that on transfer deadline day.
If you put up the Premier League,
Rob, hang on a sec, mate. Hang on a sec. The complicated things, transfers are. It's not like Atletico say, we'll offer you 50.
I am convinced if we'd called up the Premier League and said, look, just to let you know, we've accepted an offer. It's pending a medical. We've got it here in writing. We're going to wrap him in cotton wool. He's not going to play any games. It might take another 3 or 4 days. I think that we would not be where we are now. But instead, we played him in games at the start of the next season. That is entirely different.
And that's what Kieran said. And I'm on Rob's side with this one, because in principle, they can do deals. If you think about it, when we were doing the Sangare deal, the Omar Bamadeli deal, and the Origi deal, they were all lastminute.com in the 11th hour. A lot of those would have been submitted on principle and on... you can come back.
you're assuming that everything was in place. What I'm
No.
saying is, yes, Atletico may have made a bid, Forest may have made a counter bid. That doesn't mean that all the wages, because if Jono didn't want to go, then all the wages wouldn't have been sorted out. The length of the contract wouldn't be sorted out. All the image rights,
No,
all the other stuff.
I understand that as
so
well.
what
I
I'm
understand
saying
the
is,
point.
because Atletico made a bid, it doesn't mean that would have worked out, and we could have said to the Premier League, "Look, we've done," because it obviously wasn't done.
Go on, Ez.
No, I was just going to say, I understand. Yeah, you can have a deal in principle in place, but that was it. Was to me, it doesn't sound like it was anywhere close to that. You know,
Yeah,
they hadn't. They just made an opening offer, and then we made a counter bid, which they rejected. So it didn't sound like that was anywhere close to actually happening. So I think we're just arguing over nothing really. But if there was such a deal in place, like say for example with Spurs, for example, and it didn't go through till a few weeks later or even a month later, if you had it in principle in place before that deadline, then yes, you could have used that as an extra mitigating circumstance, and you probably would have got more points taken off for that. But like I say, we're just arguing over nothing because that's not what happened.
The interesting fact here is the Brentford thing. Because originally it felt like the argument was being built around the fact that Brentford had submitted an offer for Jono of 30+ million, whatever it was. Now, I've got the dates here. The first formal offer from the Premier League from Brentford was on the 21st of July for 32.5 million. That's after the 30th of June. So I'm a little confused as how they were using the argument at all when the only, if you like, verbal offer we had was the Atletico Madrid, which was on the deadline. So how does this Brentford one come into play when it's gone past the deadline?
You know what I honestly think? I honestly think that Forest didn't. This is all bullshit. This is retrospective. Forest is saying retrospectively, look, we sold Jonathan. We would have sold him earlier, but we only had the. I think that's all bullshit. I think they were like that whether to sell him or not. A great offer came in and they sold him. I don't think that this was like premeditated when Brentford came in and them saying no because we can get more. And I don't believe any of that. I think that they've tried to use it as an excuse, and it's not.
Yeah, but was the Brentford offer used as an excuse in this case?
Yeah,
Player A. That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense.
That's what I'm saying. I think that's
another month after the deadline. So how can they use that as any sort of mitigating?
It's all in the past, though, isn't it? Like it's all hypotheticals. At the end of the day, we've been given 4 points, and we need to get points on the board.
Yeah, looking forward, that's the situation. But we're kind of trying to review and see what could have been different on the way through to this. But end of the day, I mean, Rob's touched on it. The amount of stupid money we threw away, and the players that we bought without any insight, the amount of movement that was happening behind the scenes with a recruitment squad and a recruitment team, just goes to show it was a freaking mess. This is, if anything, it's a slap on the wrist, and we got to kind of take it because we've made massive mistakes. Marinakis has made mistakes, and everybody's employed beneath him has made mistakes. So they got to take it on the chin, and let's just hope it's not detrimental to our survival in the Premier League this season and going forward. That's all we can take from it. But going back, there was mistakes made, and they should have done better, and hopefully we'll do better.
Can we emphasise, though, Ez? Can we emphasise that? Yes, we failed, and it was very stupid and amateurish to fail. But can we not lose sight of the fact that the rules are wrong anyway?
Oh yeah.
Well, we'll come on to that. We'll come on to that.
We knew the rules.
Yeah, no, yeah. And what I'm saying is, I'm with you, mate. But what I'm saying is, it looks bad because of the rules. Well, it looks bad because of our position in the league, actually.
Rules that they are changing.
One thing that did occur to me, though, if this Jono money couldn't go into that, surely that gives us a right good boost for next season, then. Because we've got 50 million cash.
No. We're doing a video on that.
Me and Ant were saying briefly before the stream, like if you're a mid-table team and you are, I don't know, let's say a Wolves, for example. If you want to spend £50 million more and the worst you get is 3 or 4 points deduction, then what? It's very negative for us, but if you're a mid-table team, why not just spend £100 million?
Yeah, finishing 10th or 12th. Big deal.
You're going to take that risk.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I wonder whether the fact that they're changing the rules has kind of helped us, because they don't
I'm
need
sure
to
that was
make an
taken
example.
into
They
account.
don't need to make an example of us because they're changing the rules. Because otherwise, as we've just said, a 4-point deduction for 35 million over is for a lot of teams that will not be a deterrent, will it?
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
do you think Man City but maybe Man City's a bad example.
No, I think like a West Ham or Wolves are good examples, aren't they? Yeah.
It's
They might
worth
as well just take
risking
the
because the
risk.
most you're going to get is 3 or 4 points. So
Yeah.
I think that the rule change is
exactly.
actually helping us in that respect.
Yeah.
You don't need
All
to
right,
make an
Rob,
example.
final word on Brennan Johnson, then I want to move on to the next topic, which is going to be an interesting one. And you were talking about the whole Brentford thing with them bidding in the championship and stuff.
I would dispute that we didn't have any offers from them before July. They've been stalking him for a year and a half. They were trying to buy him when we were in the championship. And I remember them coming in latter half of last season before the deadline. If we go back and check our own videos, there were rumours about them coming in for him. Now, whether or not the offer materialised, I mean, it may well have been because I think that they sort of chucked something like 20 or 25 million. It just chucked it out there, and we just laughed at it. So, was that a concrete offer? Was it submitted in writing? I don't know. But all I'm saying is we knew the interest was there, right?
Yeah,
So
but Rob, they knew as well.
Brentford, we never knew they wanted Johnson. Of course, we knew they wanted Johnson. They've been trying to buy him for a year and a half. So, and I think Brentford seem to play by.
Surely the fact you went for 47.5 million proves that their offer was
absolutely.
It's irrelevant. It's irrelevant whether they're interested in him. It's irrelevant whether the offer made an offer.
They were stalking the situation, Rob, without a doubt. They
were trying to exploit the rules, right?
Exactly.
And Brentford kid themselves that they are, I hate doing air quotes, the best run club in the Premier League. No, they really do. They do think that. And what they've tried to do here is act like a Weasley bunch of accountants and exploit a loophole in the rules to make us sell a player for less than he's worth to satisfy profitability rules. I think that's underhand tactics. So on that basis, morally, I would take 4 points just for not selling him to Brentford under that sort of duress. What I can't accept is that we had money on the table from Atletico that I feel like that has that's shocked me. It's the first I'd heard of it anyway.
Should watch our videos, Rob.
Yeah.
I thought I'd watched every single one.
He only watches when he's on.
I was watching for a year before I was on.
Let's move on to the next topic, but let's catch up on some of the super chats and memberships. DJ with the 19 months. Love you, DJ. Thank you so much. Fraser doubling up to 2 months. Thank you so much, Fraser. Appreciate your support, buddy. Andy with the 7 months. Thank you so much, Andy. And the beautiful Sharky. £2 saying not worth appeal for 1 point. Let's move on. Sharky, we'll talk after, mate. I don't get you aligned. And let's have a quick shout out for KL Kicks, man. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the legend. It's got 140 subscribers currently. Let me chuck in his channel link. Go show him some love. He's always in our streams. Make sure you show him some love and subscribe to KL Kicks.
Can we have a like spike appeal from Ez, please?
Gonus.
Yeah. How many we got? Well, we got. How many watching?
Well, we got 500 on YouTube, 653 across all our platforms, and we have 124 likes.
Guys, right? Well, most of us are working tomorrow, right? So, guys, unless you want us to quit it right now, get us up to 300 likes on the live stream, please. And anybody obviously watches afterwards, hit that like button as well. But come on, guys, it's already been a long time.
The gun, doesn't he? He's very positive. Normally, people go for 250 first or 200 first.
Go 300 on the live.
Straight in.
I'm just glad he didn't say 50,000. Anyway, okay. I want to move on to the next topic, and I want to bring Everton into this crypto. Everton got 10 points, and then reduced down to 6 on appeal. Then we go and get 4.6, basically down to 4. Have Everton been treated harsh, or have Forest been treated softly on, or are both teams being screwed over?
So, I think both teams are being screwed over. I agreed with your video earlier. Just take back everyone's points and let everybody crack on as is, but that's not going to happen. I was watching Sky Sports earlier, and the guy was saying that Forest's mitigation was effectively better than Everton. So Forest didn't try to hide anything. They fully cooperated with the Premier League. They went over and broke the rules, but they didn't specifically do it on purpose. Now, he didn't say it directly, but he was basically hinting that Everton may not have done some of those things. So I know there's a lot of Everton fans on Twitter who are feeling hard done by.
And in the chat.
And in the chat, yeah. And I do feel sorry for Everton as well, but it looks like Forest were trying to play ball, trying to do things the right way, but obviously they made a mistake. Whereas there's some potential speech that Everton were trying to be a bit sneaky and tried to get away with it. So that apparently is where the mitigation has come from. But don't forget, Everton are also due a potential another points deduction for a different year. So they're going to feel very hard done by if they get even more points deducted. And again, if they then appeal that, I believe the process goes on until after the end of the season. So look, if we can stay ahead of Everton and Luton, then we're pretty much safe. Again, as Wolfie was saying earlier, it's an insurance policy. Stay ahead of those teams, and we'll be in the Premier League next year.
Yeah, and I think what's interesting, and when you listen to all the Evertonians, and I've spoken to Mike about this and a few of the other Everton boys, they all seem to be under the impression that they're expecting 1 or 2 points as a deduction. But I think what came out today is quite interesting, because if you look at the breakdown of how the points were unawarded, what's the opposite of awarded?
Taken away.
Taken away. That's the technical term. From Forest, it was split into 2 categories. Entry point for a significant breach. Sanction effect is 3 points. Yeah. Circumstances and scale of the admitted breach is another 3 points. And then the mitigating circumstances brought us down 2. So by reading between those lines, Ant, do you read that as Everton will automatically get a minimum of 3 points off that first line, entry point for a significant breach? Because should they be more worried now?
It sounds like that. It sounds like. I mean, to be fair to Everton, I mean, I only managed to. I will watch the rest of it, but I managed to catch the first 5 or 10 minutes of Everton Mike's Blue Boys Network podcast after the points deduction. They were going to do an Everton's worst 11, but when the points, they changed it. And to be fair to Everton Mike, I mean, he's always said neither, and I agree, neither team should have any points deducted. Yeah. But he really admired Forest's statement. He says that Forest really seemed to be sticking it to the Premier League and basically saying how corrupt it is with the top 6 and that without actually saying it. But he said, he's really pleased with the way Forest. So he said at least we showed some balls that Everton didn't. They were all creepy. It's very fair and everything. So. He's not one of these. He's not salty at all about Forest. He thinks that we're badly treated because he looks at it objectively. I think that I can't see how they can get less than 3. I'll be very doubtful because, as you say, that's like as soon as you breach it by 50 pence, it's 3 points. It's like that's the rule. However, as I mentioned earlier, I think the FA, I think Premier League. They just want it to go away because they're changing the rules anyway, as we've said. So I don't think they're going to go mad on Everton. I don't think they're going to go, big on Everton because they don't want any. They want as little fuss and bother as possible.
Yeah,
the problem they've got is the other teams that are getting relegated might have something to say about it. So that's where But then again,
and it's still going to go through
about Burnley, Sheffield United, and Luton saying something. Or the FA. Premier League bothered about what they say.
Just on that point,
it's not going to be the
big lawyers like Man City have got. So basically,
it's not going to be a Premier League decision anyway, is it? It's still going to go through the independent panel.
Yeah,
so the minimum 3 points. I think.
But obviously, the Premier League have made suggestions to the independent panel about why they believe certain points should be given. Absolutely. Now, granted. They've said no.
They said 8 points for us, didn't they? So what are they going to say to Everton? They're not going to be any kind.
But the Premier League have got to have a say in it. Otherwise, there's no point in.
No, I understand that.
Yeah,
if they said 8 points for us, and obviously initially they said 10 points or more for Everton on the first
12,
round.
12 they said 12.
Yeah, exactly.
It was a commission that gave 10.
I can't see them going down to 3 points or 2 points, even on that basis. Can you?
No,
I
but
think
the commission might say no. The commission might say no. We don't know. Look.
Well,
I mean,
the argument from Everton,
because we're okay. You know.
Yeah, no, but I'm talking about the
worried
longer
about
term impact. The point I'm making here, and the reason I'm bringing Everton into it. Look,
you're right, yeah.
I want us to finish ahead of Everton, but I want us to finish ahead of Everton on merit, aka we've put more points on the board than they have, and that's in an ideal world. But what I'm saying here is there is implications, because all I'm seeing on social media is Forest versus Luton at the moment. And my point here is that reading how the points were deduced, it looks like Everton may get 3. The argument from the Evertonians is that, well, we've already been charged 2 of those year periods in that previous sanction. Therefore, this becomes double jeopardy. I'm just saying, like, we shouldn't be just stopping at the thought of Forest versus Luton. Brentford is still in this. Everton is still in this. And Palace, I've seen a few of our Palace mates tweeting saying, why are Forest complaining? They're going to get 3 of their 4 points back come the 30th at 5 p.m. anyway. So, you know, it's like that.
This is my point, Wolf.
We've got to be safe by then.
Go out there and win at football, and then we don't have to worry about any of this.
Yeah,
exactly.
You don't want it to get. Someone made the point that if we were, you know, a point ahead and we got a point back and Luton ended up getting relegated post our appeal, I don't think it's the Premier League they sue. I think it's the clubs that they would sue. It's happened before, hasn't it? Where clubs try and sue each other. It's going to be a right mess.
How can you sue the club?
That's what they do. They sue the club for breaking.
Wait, one at a time. I can't understand any of you. Go on, Rob. What are you saying? Go on, Crypto. Finish your point.
They sue the clubs that break the rule, because they're effectively the people who have cost them the business.
No, that's absolute total bollocks.
It's not. It's the truth.
No, it is. Crypto, listen to what I'm going to say, and then you can get back to me. It's bollocks because Forest didn't decide to deduct us 4 points, so it's not our fault.
Yeah, but I'm not making the rules. I'm just saying that's what the experts say. Yeah, but the clubs would sue each other.
No, I
understand your point that you think is bollocks, but that's just the way it is. Basically.
Yeah. No, it's not.
We didn't decide how many points to take from us.
No, but we broke the rules.
If the commissioner had taken 50 points from us, Luton wouldn't have sued anybody, would they? Okay, so it's up to the commission.
That's like saying
the club that breaks the rules.
It's illogical. You would in court, you would get nowhere with that argument because Forest didn't decide the punishment.
Yeah, but Forest conducted the crime. That's like saying, Ant.
It's actually little to do with us how many points deductions we get. It's all to do with the people that give them.
But Ant, they broke the rules knowing there'd be a point deduction.
Yeah, I know, but we don't. Yeah, but whether it's 3 points or 50 points, so if it's 50 points, Luton wouldn't appeal it. It wasn't us that decided; it was only 4.
No, they don't. They only. I understand your point, but I'm saying this is what the experts say. That if we were to be,
what do they know? Seriously, what do they know?
And hold on.
Have you, through this PSR thing, have you heard all the experts? Some say this point, some say that point, some say no point. So they haven't got a clue, mate.
And the Preston is, if you look at, I think it's Middlesbrough, they have sued clubs. Yeah. Leicester and Leeds last season.
Why did they sue clubs?
Hold on. Leicester and Leeds last season. We're looking to sue Everton. The point you're talking about in the court thing is like if someone kills someone else and the person isn't happy with the punishment, their anger is still at the person who did the killing.
They don't sue the lawyers.
They don't do them any good. They can't take that.
It's all right. It's irrelevant who's going to sue who, right? Let's try to stick back on point. Rob, all right, Rob, you were about to come in on what Crypto is saying. Let's bring you back in.
Rob, you've been told not to, so.
I think Derby are still being sued over a few years ago, where they stayed up on the last day, and I think it was someone like Sheffield Wednesday, the real Sheffield, went down instead. So There's an easy remedy for
still
this.
being sued. It doesn't mean they've won anything.
No, there is easy remedy for this, which is just leave the fucking table alone, right? When Blackburn won the Premier League in 1995, did they follow the profit and sustainability rules? Are we going to take that off them? Right? I mean, these things always seem to come into play at a time that penalizes Forest. Like, we had fuck all money for 25 years, and as soon as we get bought by a billionaire shipping magnate, oh, no, you can't spend that money. That's against the rules. It is utter crap, right? And the point is that they don't need any of these rules at all anyway, because the UEFA has rules, right? And what they're doing is they're bringing the rules into next season into line with the UEFA rules. So why do we need our own rules, right? And they seem to want to have their cake and eat it, which is like, if you're going to intervene in the market, right, do it properly. Have a salary cap, have a draft, do go the whole hog, right? But don't do this sort of tinkering where like, oh, we don't like that. Oh, we're going to just knock a couple off there and a couple off there. Because like they're photoshopping the fucking table, actually. They should just leave the table alone. Financial transgressions should incur financial penalties. End of story.
Absolutely spot on.
Sounds like it needs another petition, mate.
Yeah, exactly. There is 532 of you on YouTube, 731 of you watching across the platforms, but 185 likes. Please take a quick second, you lazy little gits, hit the like button. I have no voice left, so as sympathy for at least me, make sure you've hit the like button. Let's catch up with the super chats. 1865 Fred with the £2. Need the whacker 4 points. Who gives an F? Absolutely, that's definitely gonna be sung if we stay up.
Check out my tweet, and you'll see I was way ahead of the curve on that.
Well, between me and Ant there, we've got copyright on that song now, haven't we, Ant? So we've covered our basis. We've got it time stamped and everything. Chris with the £2. Thank you so much, buddy. Everton lost 360 odd million in total. A lot of that was stadium driven. I want to kind of move this.
No, sorry, I have to correct you on that. They are not over the limit because of their stadium. I watched an hour-and-a-half podcast by the Athletic about this. Their whole stadium investment has been capitalized, and if they get a second deduction, I don't know why it's going to be any more lenient than the first one, because it's the second offence. If you see what I mean, I think it could go the other way. Sorry to butt in. Carry on.
No, butting away. This wouldn't be grumpy old Reds if we weren't butting in. Okay, Zez gone.
Get told off for butting in. Have you noticed a favouritism on here? I get told off for butting in, and everybody else is, you're butting when you're
I mean, you got more butt than Beyonce, mate. Seriously, that's why.
It's because you think you're called crypto.
Loving us, handing us. Anyway, okay, what was I going to say? Is it? Oh yeah, Ed's right. So I'm going to be honest with you guys. When I first heard about Everton getting the points early on in the season, I was like, good for Forest, yeah. And then it hits Forest, and then we've seen some other fan bases, Forest, Everton, and what have you. But I'm now looking at it, and I'm seeing Newcastle. Shout out to the Geordies in the chat. You're seeing Villa. You're seeing all these other teams that are now coming under financial scrutiny who are talking about selling their best players just to be within the limits. I think Newcastle are talking about selling Bruno Guimaraes, which is ridiculous.
Chelsea's selling Gallagher, it's all a part of it, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah, there's a panic now.
Yeah.
There's a panic.
Yeah.
But the question I'm asking here is should the 14... including the fan bases, not just at a corporate level for the team, should we not now start to put a bit of banter aside and connect together and really start putting some pressure on the corruptness and the favoritism of the so-called Big Six, the Sky Six, whatever you want to call them?
I 100%. I think we should, mate. And I'm all power to the people. That's how I roll, man. But yeah, this is the time to do it. This is the time to make that stance. I said the other day, I won't give it. You know what? If they want to, the top six want to piss off and get their own Super League, let them do it. Let the rest of us get on with real football and caring about.
They should have all had a points deduction for that. They should have had a points deduction for trying to start a Super League.
Bringing the game into disrepute, 100%. But I agree. This is when solidarity actually makes a difference. And if the other clubs are going to fall into that same bracket as us, like you guys mentioned, it's not going to harm them in terms of it's not going to be a relegation battle for them, but it could mean missing out on Europe, and going back to like how we've been screwed over the years, like Rob alluded to, as soon as we get promoted, our owner gets punished. Going back to the late 80s, early 90s, winning tournaments to get into Europe and not being able to get into Europe because of what somebody else had done, that was a huge financial loss to us. And I firmly believe played a massive part in Forest getting relegated when they did, because we didn't have the funds. That's 2-3 years in Europe that we could have had. And under Brian Clough, anything can happen in Europe, and we didn't have that opportunity because we got punished. We got collective punishment for something somebody else did. And this is when collective punishment is happening right now as well. So if these other clubs are going to fall into the same bracket as us and have points deducted, miss out on Europe, miss out on even a place in the Premier League, that's worth £5 to £10 million a year, depending on where you finish. We've all got to stand up for us, instead of throwing us under the bus, because the rest of them, it feels like we've been thrown under the bus at times. And I'm sure that was Everton's thinking why they managed to fortify themselves and get behind the club the way they did, because it did feel like to them that everyone's against us. And we kind of got to use that mentality. But for the clubs that are going to get involved in this in the future, they've got to look at what's happening to us and maybe look at it as a beneficial that it's happened to us, and they know what the precedence is now. But either way, these rules aren't fit for purpose. Whether you change them or not, whether you adapt them or not, they're still not going to be fit for our purpose. We're going to ring fence for top six like they always have done, and it's not going to help us. So I would say, let them all get behind us. We need to stay together, and screw the top six. I'm sick of it, because not just in financial matters, but in referee decisions, in everything that affects where a team's going to finish in the league. The top six have got it sewn, and I'm sick of it. So I'm more than happy to have this breakaway, man. Get rid of them. The rest of us stick together.
Yeah, Crypto, the point Rob made about the Big Six in the Breakaway Super League, the punishment was pathetic. That was a financial punishment. Yeah,
that's a tiny one as well.
Yeah, exactly. So
that was treason. It's like trying to blow up Parliament. You should be burnt at the stake for that. No, they tried
Crypto, shut up, Crypto. Your name's not Crypto.
Tried to destroy the Premier League.
Guido, shut up.
I mean, it was pathetic, really, wasn't it? Because they could afford, find them £50 million or even less. It doesn't matter to them. The only way to properly hurt the Big Six team is, and I don't want to mention the word experts, but I will. So-called experts should say that you kick them out of the Champions League, because apparently that's worth about £300 to £400 million for a club. Now that is a lot of money, even if you're rich and well off. £300 to £400 million is a lot of money for a club. It's sickening, really. The way they get treated, as you said, in the matches, outside the matches, it's all about them. All the journalists, all the channels, Sky are especially bad for it. It's all about the Big Six. It's all about them. Match of the day is the same. It's almost like the clubs underneath don't even matter anymore. So I'd quite happily let them break away and form a Super League with some of the European clubs and let them go and do their things, because at the moment, the Premier League's just being ruined by their infinite wealth and the fact that they think they can get away with everything.
It's not a level playing field. Simple as.
But the point, I want to ask this question. I'll probably do a poll on this as well. Would you guys, I'll ask you all this, but would you guys be okay with a breakaway league and basically tell the Big Six to piss off, as they call themselves? Or do you want the 14 there? Chow, what do you think on this? So Crypto said yes, he would.
Can you imagine Chelsea in the Big Six, though? They're not going to get on very well, are they?
Go on, Rob, kick us off now. I'll kick it to Ant.
Well, what wasn't it designed so they couldn't be relegated? The Super League, the Breakaway Super League.
Yeah,
the point I was trying to make when I talked over crypto was that, I mean, we celebrate bonfire night because we burnt someone to death for trying to undermine democracy, right? They tried to destroy the Premier League, and the Premier League were too shit scared to sanction them for it, right? And in the end, I'm pleased to say, or in most cases anyway, it was the fan power that stopped the breakaway. But if they had any balls, they should have done like a 20-point deduction on all 6 teams. The only issue is that maybe, you know, some of them were less inclined to do it than others, and they might have appealed it, etc., etc. But I mean, they actually tried to destroy the Premier League, and the Premier League took no action against them. So I think that's out of proportion to what we've done, which is we've just tried to stay in it, you know.
Yeah, what are you saying, Ant? What do you stand on this one?
Yeah, I mean, look, right now we're feeling that, quite rightly, that the big 6 are a bunch of selfish bastards who only look interested in their own outlook and couldn't give a shit about the rest of us. And that's true. But then again, that's always been true. It sounds great. I agree with you guys. It sounds great getting rid of these. But then, money-wise, you got to be honest. You got to be honest, right? Money-wise, they bring a hell of a lot more into this league than any of the rest of us do. Yeah. Secondly, I quite enjoy playing against the big teams, and I enjoy watching the big teams play. I say big teams. I'm using their vernacular, not mine.
Big word there, and vernacular. I like it.
Yeah. So you've put me off now.
Sorry.
Yeah, so I enjoy watching them play each other in the context of a title race that we actually can affect. Yeah. So I think people would miss them after a while when there's no Tottenham, no Liverpool, no Arsenal, no Man United, no Man City, Chelsea. Yeah. So I don't think that necessarily is the solution. The solution for me is quite simple. You have an annual limit on transfer fees, just a flat limit across the world, and that would solve everything. But of course, they won't agree to that because people always look after Forest look after themselves. We voted in a recent vote that looked totally against our own good, but that's because we're thinking, well, in a few years. So every team does it. Every team looks after themselves. It's not just the top 6.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you guys, and this is going to get the pulse. 67% want the big 6 to piss off. 32 saying no. I don't want them to go, and I'll say why. Obviously, you all know my brother's a Spurs fan. You got Twists, Man U fan. I grew up around Man U fans, Liverpool fans, Arsenal fans. Yeah, for 23 years. I've been that third spoke on the wheel. What's the saying? Third spoke on the wheel, whatever it is. Yeah. I've heard them crying when they've lost the Champions League final. Yeah. And we've just, screwed ourselves up against Stoke to get into the playoffs, or, whatever it was, or just survived against Ipswich to stay in the league. And I'm there. You lot don't know nothing. And now we're back in, seat at the table, Roman Reigns style, man. I enjoy having the banter. Again, it's been 23 years, of this. But I do agree it's not a level playing field. But I don't want them to go just because I would rather watch Forest playing.
Eventually. No, eventually I do.
I'd rather watch Forest playing Arsenal than Forest playing Sheffield. It's like
wouldn't be in it.
Brentford, Stoke, West Brom.
Exactly.
Yeah, but you could do one for the other end of the table. We call it the shit league, and just have Sheffield in there playing themselves.
Then with Derby. So that's my say on it. That's how I feel about it. But I do get the corruption. It is just ridiculous. Okay. Final thing we need to talk about. What does this mean? So, Ez, are you more or less confident now that Forest is staying up? And why?
Yeah, it doesn't change it for me because, like Ant alluded to earlier, if we can't be 2 points better off than Luton over over 38 games, and we deserve to go down. So if we can't do our job, then don't worry about the rest of it, because points deduction or not, we weren't good enough this season. That's what the tail of the.
That's not very fair on the fans, though, is it? It's not fair on us as fans.
What's not fair on the fans?
If the team,
we weren't good enough.
Crap, yeah. Why should the club go down because some of the people on the pitch can't
not
play?
fair on Scunthorpe's fans that they're crap, is it?
Yeah, exactly. If the players aren't good enough on the pitch, the fans can't do anything about it. If they weren't good enough, they weren't good enough. Crypto, it makes no difference what the fans think. You know, we don't play a part in how they play on the pitch. You know, we can G them up, and this is what I want us to do. And I do what I've heard other fan bases talking about it as well. Forest content creators talking about it. We need to get behind the club right now, like we did last season. I think it made a massive difference. It made all the difference in us staying up last season, and there's no reason why we shouldn't do it again this season, because I think, like Ant said, if we can't be 2 point overall end of it is, if we can't be 2 points better off than Luton, then we deserve to go down. So I'm not worried. I'm glad that we know what the worst case scenario is. The worst case scenario was 4 points. I would still appeal it, and then we maybe get a better result. But either way, we've still got to get those points back on the board. And now we know what the punishment is. We got to do what Everton did and claw those points back straight away. And we got a great opportunity with the next 2 home games to do that. So I'm looking positive, mate. Now we know what the situation. We've got to just get ourselves out of it now, like we did last season.
Yeah, Rob, do you see it as Everton being the blueprint for this? Because when they got their points announced, I think they went 4 or 5 on the spin and literally shot themselves straight out of the relegation zone.
Yeah, it's that we've got a 2-week delay before we can show our backlash against it on the pitch. I don't know. I just think it's a time to.
We need about 2 weeks.
I think it's just a time to just understand. There's 9 games. It's not going to be over quickly. We're not going to enjoy it, but it's all going to be worth it if we stay up. And if we don't, we need to be able to look back and say that we tried and we didn't throw in the towel. All the other clubs are nervous as well. Whether or not we appeal, that's going to be playing on their mind because they don't know how many points we've really got. Everton's proceedings still confusing everybody about what the table's eventually going to look like.
Yeah.
So there are 6 or 7 teams in this mix, depending on whether you include Palace. And, I think what we've got set out in front of us now is achievable. And we just need, I would really like us to, after today, stop moaning about the Premier League, stop moaning about the refs, and just get behind the team and try and just deliver on the pitch, because it's in our hands. I really think, despite the fact that Luton are technically a point ahead, it's in our hands. We can definitely do better than Luton over the next 9 games.
Interesting. Ben?
Yeah, I mean, I've never thought.
Yeah, anyway, as I was saying.
I've never thought that we'd get relegated. I've always kept the confidence there. So
what was that at half-time in Luton?
Yeah, but these lot don't know about that. So that didn't happen. Look what happened last season. We can fight it out and we can stay up. The players know now what they need to do. For me,
Nuno knows.
The thing is, that's what I was going to say. I'm not so much worried about the players. I'm a little bit more worried about some of the tactics. If he gets us playing attacking football again, like he did when he first came in, then we'll sail the rest of this season. That's all we need to do. Play attacking football. Play attacking football and get some goals in like we were when he first came in. Stop the negative tactics and we'll be fine. On paper, we've got a much better team than probably half the table. So there's no reason why we should be getting relegated. And with the run-in as well, with people like Sheffield and Burnley, we should be beating those teams 3-4-0. We should be turning them over. So there's no reason why we should be getting relegated at the end of this season. If anything, we should be in safety with a few games to go. That's what we should aim for. We don't really want it to come down to the last game either, because imagine how nerve-wracking that will be for everyone, for the players, for the fans. You've got to try and get this season done and dusted. I reckon that if you get to probably, I'm going to say 32 points is a safety net. It may be less, but for me, I think if you can get to 32 points, you're pretty much safe.
Yeah.
And that would mean getting 11 points out of 9 games. So you win 3, get a couple of draws, and you're onto a winner to stay in the league for next season.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I don't know what the record is for the lowest point safety total in the Premier League, but I think it will be this season, whatever it is. But I would think it'd be around.
We said that before the season started, didn't we?
I think it will be. Yeah, no, I think you've got to look
part of it.
Yeah, look. Yeah, I know that's a downside of it. But if you look at the way it's playing out, you can't see how it's going to be any more than that. And Crazy Cat Lady saying, doesn't think it's going to be too many than 27. But yeah, within.
Does anyone know it, chat? Does anyone actually know? Our chat's
intelligent. Can find out. But I think it was 32 or 33. I don't think it was any lower than that. But yeah, it might be the lowest this year. But like I say, we've got it in our hands as far as I'm concerned with the fixtures, and we got to. If we're talking like Crypto's just said, another 11 points. You got the real ability to get 6 of those 11 points in the next 2 home games, and we've got to be looking at it like that. And I'm, I don't understand this. That I know Nuno's made mistakes over the last few games.
34 points, West Brom.
Well, that was the lowest, was it?
Lowest, 34 points.
Definitely going to be lower than that.
Well, that was last season as well, then, because Everton got 33 last year, didn't they? And they stayed up.
Thought we got more than that. Well, we
sort it out, chat. Sort it out. You'll find out,
chat. But I'll miss what point I was going to make. But yeah, no, we've got to be looking at it that we've got to not leave it to the last couple of games, like Crypto says. But we've got to do our business, haven't we? End of the day, and there's teams that have got harder fixtures. The sooner we can get it done, absolutely, the better. But we just got to do our job. I'm glad that we know where we are now, and then we just got to get the best out of the remaining games, and we have got a real opportunity. Record low is 34.
Everton with 36. Yeah, record 34.
Yeah. Okay. The thing on this, guys, and we got a video coming out on this in the next couple of days, is the fixture lists. Now, statistically, the team with the easiest fixture list is freaking Brentford, man. This is across the whole league. I know it doesn't matter, but second easiest set of fixture lists is us. So I'll probably ruin the main. It matters. Now he cares. And with all due respect to Burnley and no due respect to Sheffield, we should be looking at those 2 as 6 points. Crystal Palace is now a must win. That's 9. And then we got to somewhere find 3 draws or another win. We got Everton coming up. We got Wolves who may be playing for nothing at that time.
That Everton game could be the next cup final. That could be massive.
Huge.
Everton
Huge.
Forest. That'd be massive. Yeah. That's a 6 point
swing. We'll both settle for a draw and send Luton down. That's what'll happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect. Brown envelopes.
Right. I just got a couple of super chats I want to bring in. They've been patiently waiting. Chris with another £2. And it's because you're a pillock. Love it. That's my favorite super chat of the night. Thank you so much, Chris. Jimmy with the 4 Swiss francs, son. Is that right?
Yes, Swiss francs. Yeah.
Thank you. What's the H bit?
Yeah, CHF. Yeah.
What's the H bit?
Go on, man.
What's the
Helvetica. Helvetica.
Okay.
It means Switzerland.
Yeah.
Anyway,
hang on. In what language does CH?
Helvetica's a font, isn't it?
Why did I think Swiss was?
And also, Swiss for Swiss is Swiss. SUISSE.
No, Swiss francs is CHF.
Yeah,
see,
CHF.
That's why you could always ask me in the first place. Why is CH? You don't know what he's talking about.
In Switzerland.
Because that's how we that's how it's worded in their language. I don't speak.
Anyway,
French,
are we really going to argue about this? Bloody hell!
But it is Swiss franc, Jimmy.
It would. Switzerland. It's Swiss. SUISSE.
No, you lot will argue about anything.
Confederation.
You lot will argue about anything. All right. Anyway, Jimmy, thank you. Thank you for the 4 Swiss francs. For those who lost their voice last Sunday, man, thank you. My voice is gone. Vic, the lovely Vic with the £5. Time we dished out a few beatings. Come on, you Reds. I couldn't agree more, man. I really couldn't.
Yeah, and I'll
Yeah,
come to my point.
we'll
Just
start
We'll
with
come up
Rob
on that in a second.
Yeah.
And Will, with the £2, one win in the last 9 games. We need a bounce in next night. We need a bounce straight away. Will, thank you for the £2. And Noah, evening Noah, 199 from him. Evening Reds, I'm finally feeling better. Glad to hear you feeling better, buddy. Hope all is well with you and stop getting banned from the City ground. Quick like check. We're on 240 now. If 10 more of you could hit that like, it'll be absolutely like legendary from you. So please do hit that like button. And just a very quick reminder for the rest of you who want to support the channel for completely free, please don't forget to download SofaScore. The link is pinned in the chat right now. All you got to do is click it and download it. It'll give you all your live scores on obviously Forest and any other leagues you are interested in, be it La Liga, be it the French Farmers League. You get to see all the ratings. Ice hockey, it's got all the sports as well, tennis, NFL, whatever you like. You got your heat maps, you've got, of course, your shot maps, and Forest will hopefully be having a lot of those coming forward, and the lovely attacking momentum, which shows you who's been dominating at what minute during the game. And my favorite bit is the average player rating. And if you want to go, if you're as old as Ant and want to look at some historical data, then obviously go check out the olden generation Goldie. So thank you to everyone who's downloaded that. Please do take a second to download it, as it supports us for completely free, and you're all legends for doing it. And this is it now, isn't it? As you were going to touch on what was said in the super chat there by Vic. It's time we dished out a few beatings, and it's key, isn't it? With Luton having Spurs and Arsenal coming up away in Man City, and we've got not Chelsea, Crystal Palace, Wolves, and then Spurs. It's time. Fulham, sorry. Yeah.
So
we got some winnable games, but no, my point was going to be
that 3 of our next 4 at home. Sorry, Ez.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. But there's some. I think we've been constructive in our criticism over Nuno over the weekend. But there has been constructive criticism elsewhere, but there's been some that has just been pure hate and pure ridiculousness. But the difference is we just haven't taken our chances. When we had that run of games where we're scoring 2-3 goals per game, we weren't creating that many more chances than we have in the last few games, but we were taking them, and that's been the difference. We had Guiltez chances again against Luton to clearly see them off. We had chances against Liverpool. We had chances in every single game. We just haven't taken them in a way we were taking them earlier. Now, what's causing that? I don't know if it's a mental block or it's just they literally need more time on the training field and doing more shooting practice. But it is the difference of just taking those chances, and still creating them. So I'm not worried about from that point of view, because against weaker teams that we are potentially, teams are weaker that we are coming up against, we just got to take those chances. I've got no problem with what we're creating. I've just got a problem with there's some sort of mental block. I spoke about Alanga since he's come back from his injury. You know, he just hasn't had his shooting boots, and he's missed some crucial chances. Yeah, we just need one of us to go in the game, you know, and that could be all the difference. So I'm not worried about us not creating the chances. I'm just worried about us not putting them away. So if we carry on the way we're doing in the upcoming games, at least the next 2 games, I've got to look at maximum points, especially at home against teams coming up. But take your chances, Forrest. You're doing it. You're creating them. Take them.
Take your chances and defend set pieces.
Yeah,
simple as that, isn't it? But Raphael,
usually not going to happen, is it?
You've usually got the doomsday scenarios, Rob.
No, I haven't.
Do you see this one? Yeah,
you were the one that said the worst. Right, your worst case scenario is that we were going to be 9 points behind Luton, and we are 1 point behind Luton. So
that wasn't my prediction, though. That was my factual checking.
It wasn't your doomsday scenario.
Yeah,
I think this is the.
I have a doomsday scenario, Rob.
Half time, I can promise you that.
But Rob, my doomsday scenario is: do you think we will still need points at Burnley on the last day of the season?
I hope not, because we've not shown an ability to beat them this season. I've been at 2 games against Burnley, and they are a bit of a bogey team. I think
you're definitely not going to that one, mate.
Yeah, we got to get the business done before then. We did it last year, beat Arsenal at home. We still have that player. He needs to get back to his best.
All
But
fit.
yeah, I think this is the ideal time to have a 10-day break. Quite honestly, I think everybody's tired. Everybody's fed up. We've had some terrible luck, some terrible referees. We've got to look at it like we've got like a mini season or a mini tournament now coming up. There's like 7 teams in it, 9 games to play. We've just got to not be in the bottom 3. I really hope they spend the next week and a half. I mean, I know a lot of the players are away on international duty, but I want to see Reina and Rodrigo featuring over the next few games, and I want to see them play to their potential. And if they're being kept away, why the hell did we bring them in? Because I think you can only get so much out of Elanga and Origi and those guys. They need some reinforcements. And, if those two aren't the ones to make a difference, why did we bring them in?
Yeah. Let's end with this, though. Let's end with this. And chat, get your number in. Crypto, what do you think the magic number is this year for safety? What do Forest need to get to? So just to remind everyone quickly on how the table stands. Currently, Forest are 21 points, Burnley 17, Sheffield 14, and above us, I think Bournemouth are safe for 35. We all in agreement with that? They're gone, yeah?
Yeah.
You got Palace on 29. I think one more win does it for them. Brentford 26, Everton currently 25, could go down, and then Luton 22. So Crypto, what's your magic number?
I'm going to go with 32. I think if we can get to 32, we'll be safe. The one thing that worries me slightly is goal difference, because we're only within 2 goals of Luton's goal difference. So 32 for me is 100% safe. And just to touch on what Ez said quickly, Elanga and Origi, etc., you need to start finishing those chances. You need to be more clinical in front of goal. I don't think we're going to be able to suddenly start defending set pieces. I just think that's going to be something for next season now. So what we've got to do is go back to getting an average of 2 goals a game and try and win that way. And the only way we're going to do that is if people score their chances.
Yeah. And what are you saying? Where's your head at? And don't say, I don't know. It could be anything.
I don't know. It could be anything. Yeah, I mean, look, you don't know, do you? Because teams got to play football. And
I'm asking you what you think, not what you know. If you knew, then we'd be putting money on it.
I tend to agree. It's a very, very poor standard down there, and it includes us. So I would say probably about 32. Can I just make a very quick point, though?
Go on.
It just occurred to me as we're sitting here that we dropped 2 points at home to Luton that we should have done. At home, we dropped 2 points away to Luton that we shouldn't have done, and there's your 4 points deduction.
Yeah, well, it's 6 points.
That's
swing,
how ridiculous. That's how ridiculous it is.
It's more, and it's 6 because you take
6
2
points
off
swing
them.
over Luton, isn't it? Because then they don't get those 2 points.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But those are the mistakes that we need to cut out. We need to cut out the mistakes for the end of the season. We can't afford them.
I was going to say that there's been always talk about psychological this, and do we think that Forest players all for blah blah blah. Just go out and play football to the best of your ability, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, there's enough ability. Just is there enough?
They're good enough. They're good enough. Get a decent system in place.
Put a number on it.
I
said 32.
You did say
32. Okay. There's a lot from the chat varying from 28 to 40.
Nicky said 48.
Well, Nicky said 48, didn't he? Yeah. What are you saying, Rob? What's your magic number here?
Oh, come on. There's still too many. We don't know what Everton are getting for their second deduction. So that's the
No, I had to do it. It doesn't matter. We're not going to string you up if you're wrong.
Between 30 and 35.
So am I. I'm thinking between 30 and 35.
Political answer ever.
All right, 32. But that's nothing whatsoever.
32, whatever. Just shut up. Leave me alone.
Let's go on to random number generator.
Well, yeah, do that then. Yeah. I mean, Will's saying 23. He's saying Luton won't get another point. Luton won't get another point.
Another couple of points, yeah.
If Barkley
could
gets
be right,
maybe.
It could be right.
Yeah, Barkley could get injured, and then there would be a proper championship team.
Yeah. All right. Ez, you going to give us a proper number?
I'm gonna agree with Matt SB, mate. I'm gonna go with 32. I think that's safe for me. I can't see it's going to be
32.
Yeah,
You
but
agreed
so
to
did
crypto,
Crypto,
so who triggered
so
it?
did Matt
Yeah,
SB,
yeah,
so
yeah,
did
yeah.
Half the Chat.
Why are you picking Matt? Why are you picking Matt out?
Yeah,
public?
don't
Yeah,
pick-
He's better looking.
He's my boy. Yeah, he's better looking. Definitely better looking. On. I've met
That's
him in
your
the
opinion, gay boy.
flesh. I've met him in the flesh, so he definitely is. Yeah. Yeah. So I think honestly, I think that'd be more than enough. 11 more points, like Crypto said earlier, and his route to getting those 11 points, I wouldn't go against that either. So yeah, that would be, I think, more than enough. Yeah. See, cheers, Matt. You know, but yeah, that's what I think. I think most of the chat agree as well. 32, I think, will be more than enough. I think we'll be a couple of points safe with that, but keep a couple of points in hand.
See, I think we should be spinning it the wrong way. I think you're all answering wrong. I think the answer is very simple. If we beat Palace, Sheffield, and Burnley, and draw with Wolves and Everton, we're safe.
That's 32. That's 11 points.
Why are you letting
points.
Fulham off the
11
hook?
11
points.
points.
32.
Why are you
Yeah.
letting Fulham off the hook? We should beat Fulham, definitely.
They just
beat
can't
Fulham, the
Spurs.
team that beat us 5-0 earlier in the season.
Yeah, hang on.
Hang on, Rob, shut up a minute. And the team that just beaten Tottenham 3-0. That Fulham.
We were at home though,
Oh,
and they beat us 5-0 at home.
Did we think we beat Tottenham 3-0 at home?
Yeah, but
I
Rob,
think we
do you
have
think
to
we
try and
beat
beat
Fulham?
Fulham. I think we have to look at beating Fulham. Palace and Fulham, we have to.
I agree, but I don't think it should be just a. Well, it should be there.
Although I
don't
take
think
4 points out of the next 2 games, saying that, but yeah,
Yeah, I would. To be fair,
I think we all would.
I mean, they did draw with Burnley 2 apiece a couple of weeks back.
They've been so flipped.
They're inconsistent.
Very
aren't they?
they're
inconsistent.
very inconsistent.
Very inconsistent.
They're
Yeah.
very
A lot of teams.
inconsistent. Yeah.
So
What
I
makes you
don't
think
know.
they're going to turn up to our ground and survive the onslaught of the mighty Reds?
Oh god, I'm getting nervous. Now you lot have made me nervous. I came on the stream feeling upbeat. Like we were now I just don't know. Forest are gonna do
You've got
Forest
the
thing.
same tally as us, mate. You just
Hey, can you
doing
imagine?
round
Can you imagine? Can you imagine this scenario? Right, we come on to do a gore and post match, and we've won a game. Can you imagine
Yeah,
that?
no.
Isn't that what tonight is? We gained 2 points tonight, didn't we? So
Yeah. That's why I started with the I come on celebrating the victory because we don't do it very often.
I just want to crack this bad boy out on stream, man. I'm just dying to get this Hawaiian shirt on.
Yeah, I still look at my post box every day. I'm still
Yeah,
working.
Keep looking,
same here.
mate. Keep looking.
You look
All right, we'll end it there. I hope you've enjoyed the stream. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, all the usual stuff. Make sure you subscribe to Matt SB as well, the absolute legend. Get him to 60k, and we'll have him on soon, no doubt. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back tomorrow with yet another video. Plenty of content still to come out in this international break. Come on, you Reds.
You